like my take is like it's a little bit of nuance where it's like I feel like Israel is completely justified in trying to eliminate Hamas. Like I don't understand why they would tolerate that like right next to them. Mm-hmm. And then I also think that Netanyahu and Israel could be doing more to protect.
So a potentially violent group on their border justifies action, and Russia Ukraine joining NATO and putting military bases in there. You don't like that though.
Well, the difference is that
commie traitor to our country. I don't want to hear that shit, Taylor. I don't want to hear that.
I don't even pointed well. I'm not sure I did it.
Which do it that way? Commie.
Wait, that's me.
Wait, you're
pointing at Woody, you fucking retard.
I believed you,
fucking idiot.
Right the first time, and I thought Woody was correcting me, but I think he was just complimenting me on my pointing skills. Commie.
Yeah.
Commie traitor to our country. All right. Oh, you want us to be our little isolationist island? The biggest fucking island of scaredy cats in the world. What are we going to make then? We're the best weapons manufacturers that have ever existed. You want to stop that? You want to stop when business is a booming? There's folks that need killing, Taylor, and we make killing tools.
There's no reason for us to be there. No reason.
Oh, I've got billions of reasons. How is Hunter Biden going to get his next paycheck if Ukraine falls? He needs to get plugged back in.
I think Taylor's like political profile is probably in like 0.001% of the country, where you have like a libertarian isolationist who believes in universal healthcare and is pro-life. Like that is such an interesting constellation of.
I'm not even I wouldn't even say it's libertarian. Like I'm very nationalistic in a lot of my views, in that like I want America for Americans, promoting things that help American citizens. Like. So I guess that's nationalism, right? Like
that sounds more like isolationism or nativism, but like nationalism necessarily has a bad So like the definition of nationalism is like extreme patriotism and focus on like a national identity to the detriment of other countries. That's like if other countries have to like do a little worse so Americans can do better, I'm cool with that. Like
they already do. That's the way.
We more like trying to invade Mexico.
Like if your government doesn't,
I'm all right. Not Canada, but Mexico.
Those countries are worthless. But if like your country has to fight on behalf of you as a citizen, if your government isn't fighting on behalf of you as a citizen, your government has failed. Like it has to represent us. It has to.
I would take a good bit of Mexico away. I don't see why we build the wall on our side. Like they're causing a problem. I'm going to put the fence on their side.
I only want to steal the good part.
The wall can be so much shorter if we just go a little lower below California.
You want Baja?
Yeah,
done.
Thank you, Kyle. For
what I want? I want Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa. I want to make sure
these are all hockey cities.
I want to make sure that Canada doesn't even have an NHL team. Get fucked.
That's more of an NHL decision. You really don't need the whole country in a global war.
Yeah, I do want to say this.
Usually my takes are so serious.
Hutch was talking about Taylor's positions, and while I don't agree with all of them, I really like the way Taylor arrived at them. What I don't love is when someone just happens to agree with everything that their side does. Like I'm pro-gun, but mostly vote blue. And Taylor has a lot of positions like that too. Like he's pro-national healthcare, but Republicans generally aren't.
I'm pro-drugs.
Like I hate Republicans. They are fucking losers. They're embarrassing losers.
Well, that's okay, Taylor, because we love you.
They're the worst.
You big strong son bitch.
They seem slightly better than the Democrats to me, and some of my core issues, which is no more forever wars, close the border, and universal healthcare isn't going to get got by fucking either party, but that is definitely
war is what we fucking do. Why do people not like our
don't
war?
want us to? Because
they're fucking sick. They're fucking sick. We never lose. Dude, what game mode are you playing? What game mode are you playing? I'm playing TDM. We always win. We wipe the fucking floor with them.
Dude,
you ever see
lost
the pictures?
Vietnam.
Excuse me, just one moment.
We won Vietnam in TDM.
Have you ever seen those photos of the U.S. Army with those piles of gold bullion? Where did that end up? Like, I swear, we win all of these wars, and it's a good fucking time. And all of our big companies, it's a good fucking time. Dude, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 would not have had the AC-130 if George Bush hadn't done the right thing and invaded Iraq, okay? That's what that footage was based on.
Dude, honestly, Kyle is more nationalistic. Kyle's more nationalistic than me in regards to the military, because anything
no
the American military does anywhere on Earth, he's like, badass, keep doing it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I want
Every time
more
you
of
say
it.
that,
I
I'm
want
like,
more
what
of
the
it.
fuck?
You not
I want
realize
more
the
of it.
cost of that on the American public, and you're like,
Who
nah.
are you talking about? What public? Were they mutilated?
They were mutilated.
Who?
I was mutilated when I had to pay my taxes this year, Kyle.
Oh, please! Like that money came from your taxes. They just print as much as they need. The $3 trillion went missing
If
from the
it
Pentagon.
didn't come from my taxes, why did I have to cut that check?
No, it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's what we fucking do, and we print the money, so it doesn't matter how much it fucking costs.
What we do is lose every war.
Make
since
the
World
best
War
killing.
II.
Okay, by your terms, maybe. But I just strongly.
Who has
What
the
was the
land
victory
afterwards?
condition in
Maybe.
Vietnam? And
I
did
don't
we
know
win?
why we don't conquer places. And when Trump said it, everybody acted like he was out of his mind. He was blaming
Just
George
take the
Bush for
oil.
Iraq.
Just take the oil.
Take it all. He was blaming
the
George
oil,
Bush for Iraq
get it,
and how it was
get
this
it.
huge mistake because the weapons of mass destruction weren't really there. He was shouting all this, and he said we didn't even keep it. And I was like, did he think that was a possibility that we just kept it? And I was like, damn, why didn't we just keep it?
They turned around.
Honestly,
and
the
started
wars
selling
for
their oil
oil
to
thing
China.
was never the wars for oil thing was never salient to me as far as reasons to go in the Middle East, because like it was basically an argument like, oh, what if I spend $1 trillion to break into Woody's house and then steal his projector? It's like, well, you can buy that projector for $1,500. That's
It also
exactly the
just didn't-
situation in the Middle East. Like we spent trillions of dollars to purportedly secure oil reserves that we still don't have in order to not buy them at cheaper than the war would have been. We already have Saudi Arabia in our pocket. They're our little bitch.
Are we talking about Iraq
Taylor-
right now? Are we talking about Iraq 2? Because that Iraq 2 is literally to avenge the plot on George Bush's father. Plain and simple. That's all it is.
So Kyle, I've heard that, and I'm not sure it's wrong. We might both be right because I keep hearing that a lot of these oil wars are about keeping USD to be the global currency.
Sick.
That like,
I like
they
that.
saber rattle about switching to the euro or something else.
We topple them.
And we we got to do a little killing.
Dude, I love that shit. We've won 1,000
Why?
little wars
How does
that
it
you've never
benefit
heard
you?
of. Because it would make a
Georgia.
fucking good Tom Cruise movie, dude. That's why. Because it's
You're a-
entertaining. Because
You're
I
a
don't
Reagan
care.
Republican.
I think it's
Mate,
neat.
Taylor.
You're a Reagan Republican, a shining city on the hill with missiles pointed at everybody else.
Dude, Reagan
And,
sucked, and I don't like him.
Like safety through strength. Yeah, like we need one of them laser space programs to shoot down nukes. We need to do something about those Russian subs off our coast. But otherwise, we just need to keep fucking shit up. We're like, you're acting like there's another way. Like we're not the Spartans of this era in the world. Like when they look back to this time 1,000 years from now,
We're all fat as fuck, dude.
what are you, my friend?
Have you not seen Kyle's Tinder profile? He's not fat.
The guys we
have,
send aren't fat.
And you would
though.
know
The guy-
National Rocks.
and you don't need to be skinny and svelte to operate a Predator drone from fucking Nevada. Like you know what I mean? Like it's a different game now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
if
why
we're
the
fat.
constant approval of U.S. interventionism and other I'm not even isolationist as much
Because
as I am
people with more
non-interventionist.
information than
And
me, because people with more
don't
information than me and that are smarter than me deem it to be in the best interest of the United States because they think so. I back that blindly because our system is made for me to do
That's
so.
retarded.
They're supposed to be the
You think
best of
that's
the best.
retarded? You should hear my reason. Global intervention is how I learn about geography.
Dude, that's true. I had no
That's how I
idea
learned
how
how
big
to
Ukraine was.
You think I knew where Ukraine was? I know it was in Europe.
I didn't know where Kiev was for sure. I didn't know about that river. I didn't know exactly where the nuclear disaster was. I've got a little bit of European geography down
Checkmate,
now.
bitch boy.
the first thing I did when that broke out was I fired up Microsoft Flight Simulator on my 32x9 OLED monitor and
Holy
I just flew around
shit.
Ukraine. But
Where'd
no,
you
it's a
did
really
you find
kind of
anything
like
cool?
fascinating. Well, I mean, it's pretty beautiful, but like it's a really fascinating moment right now for the Republican Party because like Merle Haggard was performing at the RNC, I think, yesterday, and he's singing a song, and the lyrics are "Let's get out of Iraq and get this country back on track." And it's like as somebody who became an adult during the Bush era, conservative jingoism of like the post September 11th era, I'm like my mind is spinning. I'm like, what is like how these are the people that were calling people like me traders for like opposing the war as like a little college hippie. And now they're singing this tune. But
What do you make of a lot of black?
They were wrong for promoting those bullshit forever wars that went on for 20 years. You were right. Stay out of this. There's no reason. There's no benefit to the American public to be involved in wars in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Our weapons are getting better. It's so much great weapon testing. Like we're just getting better and better at blowing things up and killing stuff, and that's what we do.
You think that's worth like a million Iraqi lives?
I mean,
you know any Iraqis?
As a kid,
what do you? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Is this right?
Yes,
way?
you're doing well.
Look at this guy. Loves the Iraqis. Oh, look at him. Oh, Iraqi flag. I love you.
How can you not point independent of someone else telling you what way to point? You fucking retard.
Because it's different on my screen, silly. It's different on my screen. You see, Taylor. Sometimes it's all about perspective. You're a goober smooching Iraq lover, and I'm an American patriot. Rock flag eagle.
Rock flag eagle. Love
well,
that.
like I'm sure like we can broadly agree that some American interventions have been bad, but like how do you, for example, like if we have a strategic partnership with like the Somali government and they ask for our help fighting, they have a terrorist problem over there, and they say, hey, like, can you help us like deal with that? Like how do you evaluate whether or not to do that? I mean, I used to be kind of very skeptical of like the American hegemon, the global like hegemon. But at this point, like I feel like I'm kind of grateful that we're the world superpower and not China. Like I would much rather prefer that it would be us.
We are for now. Like, and that's something that I think I differ from maybe Woody and Kyle from is I don't think our position on the world stage as the global hegemon is as long lasting as them. Like I don't think we're going.
Who runs the government
now?
Right?
50 years from now, 100 years from now, I don't think we're going to be the global hegemon. Like we're just not set up.
Taylor,
China is a very serious country. A very serious country.
Their economy is not doing great right now, though.
Their population is shrinking, which crushes the economy. Which is,
and we've talked about this before. Manufacturing is leaving China for Indonesia and other Asian markets because they're not. They were always crappy like quality, but they were cheap, and now that's going away, and now they can't fulfill orders. Like I'm not worried about big China. Not worried about the Kung flu. Okay, we'll see how quickly Genocide Joe recovers from the virus. That's what I want to see. Like we talked about how deadly this goddamn virus was. Joe must have had 6 fucking boosters. Let's see how well he handles it. Like I think that'll be a little bit telling. He doesn't have
COVID, dude. He probably
he doesn't
want to go out. Like they
Taylor knows
for COVID anymore. Who really is? He has 7 boosters. And if he has the best doctors on earth, he's got 10 boosters for it, right? What's the timeline?
With the president who's 81 years old, I guarantee the White House does probably regular COVID testing. I would assume.
Well, he was feeling down and jet lagged after that 2-week flight.
Yeah, 10 days later, he was still jet lagged. Yeah,
happens to the best of us. That could have been anyone.
I don't care whether or not he has COVID. I disagree so strongly with Kyle's imperialist, I'll put it, position that we need to have military in every corner of the world. And
I kind of want an empire, if I'm being real. Like I want to keep the same system, but I want like a figurehead up there who's got like kind of like how the UK does it. How you've got a prime minister, we have fair elections, all that, but there's a king, and the king's got a little bit of say. And he's not going anywhere. Like I kind of like he's not going to invade anywhere. The king can't invade. The king can't send a predator strike. But he's got some sway with the government and with the people, and he's up there to be beloved, to be, shall I say, worshipped, just a little bit. And I can think of no better man to be the king of America than Donald J. Trump.
I like my presidents who don't get shot.
I like Elon.
A lot of people talk about the world like how Taylor's talking about, where it's like people describe things as sort of like the world being on fire, and in a historical context, there has never been a better time to be alive. Like there's like that in terms of like world peace, like obviously you have certain situations in, Congo and Ukraine and Israel, but our generation can't even imagine World War I, World War II, and all the previous centuries of empire and conquest and blah, blah, blah. It's just,
dude, it would be so terrifying.
Pretty fucking good right now.
I agree with what Hutch is saying.
Largely, technologically driven instead of politically driven, though. Like we have excellent quality of life because our technology is so much further ahead than these other groups in the past. Like, I don't think it's necessarily
honestly,
that our political circumstances so much infinitely better that it's better for the.
No, it was
If you were to
nukes.
listen
It
to the
was the
news,
nukes.
you would think that Boeings are falling out of the sky every day. I think
Yeah.
we're currently setting a record every day for the amount of time between airliner crashes. Like, these things are doing better than they ever have. And all I hear about is how Boeing's killing whistleblowers to hide their terrible planes, which might be
Did
true,
you see that,
but
though?
they're not fault.
That's
No
a
one's
little
crashing.
Wild.
Yeah.
It was the advent
Like-
of nuclear weaponry that I think directly led to this like period of peace that we have. I mean, of course, we had like a Cold War with all these proxy wars with the Soviet Empire for
I
decades.
love those.
But
You can make a
nobody
Rambo
wants
for
to, like,
everyone.
there's like
We know
if
you love
nukes didn't exist, we would have had
Fucking
another World War
cool.
III by then, by now. But
Taylor, you
obviously
never went to
nobody-
war. What are you talking about? Didn't your buddy who went to war like love it? If he
That
were
one.
here,
I
wouldn't
thought
he?
he
Wouldn't he
did.
be like, Kyle, you make it a lot of sense. War is fucking sick. This one
Yeah,
time
don't
his
they love
Haji
it?
come at me, I cut him in half.
I've got multiple good friends who are Marines, or were Marines rather.
They didn't all lig on it.
And I can think of one who was like, "Oh, it's pretty tight. Ukraine and Russia are fighting," and then the other ones were like, "Oh, this is bad. Like, there's no reason if they're gonna do this shit. There's no reason for us to be in. Like, I don't. Their point was like, I don't want to see U.S. Marines dying in a Ukrainian field.
That's
for
why we
no
need to
reason.
support them, Taylor, so that U.S. Marines don't have. to
We
die in that
already
field.
fucking do. They have $100 billion of your tax money.
So far.
Yeah, but the bootses.
They just love the
Yeah,
attention.
the boots on the ground.
Anytime a war
I
breaks
think
out,
the,
they're
I think
like,
the real
"Oh."
thing is, I'm so much less afraid of Russia than like the average liberal. I think like Russia can barely push back Ukraine with American assistance. You think they have the manpower to push on a NATO country? Get real.
They never quit.
Russia knows that if they pushed in on Poland, they would get butt fucked from every direction. They have 0% chance of victory. They have no shot. Nothing.
So
They know
Taylor,
that
hold up.
because- they know
I
that
think
because
there's
we're
a real
supporting Ukraine.
chance. I think there's a real chance that if Russia did invade Poland, Trump would be like, you know what, NATO's kind of bullshit. Poland, I never knew that person in the first place. I've forgotten all about Poland.
How many Polacks does it take to defend an invasion?
No,
Like
I mean, number one, Poland
Oh,
has a
it'd be
much
good.
more robust military structure than Ukraine, and so they could defend themselves better. But number two, like all the other European nations, like they're in NATO. It's in Article 5. They would defend, and the
Trump
U.S.,
wanted
who
to
is
pull out of
basically,
NATO.
He
Yeah.
threatened to if they didn't pay their fair share.
I'd be fine with
Which
that.
is something
I
you
don't
think
see
the left would agree
benefit
with.
to us fighting.
But
They're
your
always
Why
argument
should we
was
have to
that
fight European wars for them?
I don't know. It seemed like you went from, hey, it's in Article 5, there's no doubt, to, hey, I'm fine with pulling out of NATO entirely pretty quickly.
Stability in Europe directly benefits America too, by the way. Like if Europe actually broke out in war and like people, you have these like strongmen doing these land grabs, the impact in the economy would be felt worldwide. Like, so it's not just we don't just do these things out of the kindness of our hearts because it's the right thing to do. We do that. We do stuff like send Ukraine money because it benefits us.
They should stop
I
importing
see it as
immigrants into
largely,
Europe if it's stability is important.
What's that?
They should
Yeah, I
stop
think it's
importing all
largely
those immigrants
benefiting
into Europe if stability is
contractors.
important.
I
Gotcha.
wasn't sure who Hutch asked what's that to.
Go ahead, Taylor. Go for it.
I'm sorry. I was saying I think that it largely benefits defense contractors, not all my beliefs politically have to do with what I believe would help the American public and the average American person. Wars in Ukraine do not help the average American citizen. Wars in the Middle East and promoting them and funding proxy wars does not benefit the average American citizen. We have enough problems on our plate domestically with our border and insert whatever, the opioid crisis, grocery, like whatever you want to put in there. The issue is that our government seemingly has no thought in their head that they should be prioritizing how American people live and what benefits them. And any sort of government that is worth its salt should be entirely and totally dedicated to the increase of life quality of their citizenry.
Well, you're
If
engaged
it's
in
not,
this populist,
not
you're
a
engaged.
valid government.
You're engaged in this populist rhetoric that's become like really common in right wing circles now, And I hear this argument a lot where it's like, we shouldn't give Ukraine aid when we have homeless veterans. And yet when you see legislation like the PACT Act go up, you see which expanded healthcare access to veterans that was signed into law under Joe Biden. And you see every Republican voting against it. So like, how do you reconcile, like, what programs would you like to see enabled in lieu of money sent to Ukraine?
None.
Universal healthcare. I would like to see universal healthcare and our borders be stringently guarded and illegals deported. Like we need that sort of thing to take care of our citizenry, the United States. Like that. That's the only thing our government should be caring about.
You're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar. I mean, I agree with you. I would love to see an NHS type system in the United States. Fully on board with that. It's interesting hearing that from a Republican, which again is like you're just an interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even a Republican. I've only ever voted for Trump.
Right. Or like someone who's like conservative make the argument. But, you know, it just seems like populist Republicans like Gates and Boebert and all them and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they always engage in this rhetoric. And then when it comes time to pass some kind of like social safety net program for that directly benefits Americans, they always oppose it. And so it just rings so hollow to me to hear it from them.
Yeah, Republicans are gay and I don't like them. They're the worst. Like Republicans and at least Democrats know how to play the politics game. Republicans are retards. They're fucking idiots.
Taylor.
They can Republicans can take an attempted assassination against their elected official and spin it into nonsense in 2 days. Like that's how bad at politics Republicans are.